When you think of Lexus, you think about reliability, build quality, and also hybrid technology. So their first electric car offering has got to be good, right? Yeah, about that. Hello Electroheads, I'm Tish and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to be taking a closer look at Lexus's first electric car offering, the UX300e. So if that sounds good, then please make sure you stay tuned. And if you like electric content, everything from bikes to cars, then make sure you're subscribed to the channel. Okay, so maybe I was a little bit harsh with that opening. It's not all bad. The Lexus actually does two of those three things very well. It's reliable, it's still got very good build quality, it's just not very good at all the electric bits. Yeah, that's quite important in an electric car.
Why do you think we're here?
But there are other good points as well, and I'll talk about the electric bits later. But to start with, let's talk about the exterior design of the Lexus. Lexus have chosen to take the same path as some other manufacturers like Peugeot, and they don't want to stand out their electric UX crossover compared to its petrol, diesel and hybrid variants. In fact, the only way you can tell is the flash of electric badging down the side. But that's not a bad thing, for me personally anyway. I love the look of the Lexus, but I completely understand that looks are perceptive and not everyone is going to be into this kind of thing. But I like the sharp edges and lines, that massive front Lexus grille. I like the different materials used, the chrome detailing along the bottom, the gloss on the grille and also these little side vents, and also the silver roof rails. It's pretty interesting to look at. We don't actually get many Lexuses on the UK roads, let alone electric ones.
It's amazing the number of Lexi you see around. Because that's the plural.
So every time I see one, I'm quite interested. Things like the shape of the wing mirrors are just a little bit different. Lexus claims a range of up to 196 miles for the UX300e, a figure calculated for the lower spec models on 17-inch wheels. The bigger 18-inch rims don't make a huge amount of difference. Range from this model officially falls to 190 miles. During my test week, I found the Lexus to offer a range of 165 miles on a full charge. A little out of the way of the manufacturer's claims. Hard to justify when a similarly priced Polestar 2 long range offers 335 miles. Looks can sometimes be deceiving, and those flared wheel arches and the large wheel gap might make you think that this car would be good off-road, but unfortunately not. Due to the batteries being quite low down to the floor, there's not actually much ground clearance. UX stands for Urban Crossover, highlighting that this is an SUV built for the city. It's not been designed to tow a boat or ford a river like you might do with a traditional 4x4. Let's talk about something very important and something that probably all Lexus employees cringe at when it's mentioned, and that's charging. The Lexus can charge one of two ways, with charge ports on either side of the car. The first is your Type 2 charger for your at-home charging, and that's pretty consistent with other brands. Overnight, it will take you around 8.5 to 9 hours to charge your Lexus to full. However, on the other side, is a CHAdeMO. Oh, I know, we all hate CHAdeMO. Now this is really annoying and it has a maximum charge rate of 50 kilowatts, which is almost half of most other brands on the market. That really is a real shame. And though there is a lot of CHAdeMO charge ports out there at the moment, which will get your car from 5 to 80% in around 90 minutes, there's not going to be that many more built because CCS is now the standard charging type, so that could be a bit of an issue. Rear space is once again not this car's strong point, but to be fair, watching other YouTube reviews, I don't think it's quite as bad as other people have made out. I'm around 5'5" and I'm all right back here. It's quite comfortable as well. I've got heated rear seats, 2 USB ports, and a pull-out armrest with 2 cup holders. The main thing I'd say though is these rear tinted windows don't let a lot of light in, so it does feel just a bit claustrophobic. But I don't think it feels any smaller back here than on the Vauxhall Mokka-e. I guess the main issue is because the batteries are under the floor, your knees sit up quite high. space on the electric Lexus is actually better than that of the hybrid. You have 367 litres compared to 320 in the hybrid, or less than 300 if you go for the all-wheel drive hybrid. Although it's still not great compared to competitors of other electric crossovers. It's not all that usable either. This load lip is quite high. There is some underfloor boot storage, however. But here's something I didn't expect from Lexus. This boot floor feels really cheap and there's no way of holding it up. And the same can be said about the parcel shelf. Plus, you have to go for the top spec model if you want to get an electric boot. The inside of this car, just like the exterior, is really funky and interesting. You've got these great two-tone leather seats which are heated and cooled. I quite like these. You've got a leather-wrapped armrest which can be opened from both sides. That's pretty funky, right? You've got a strange kind of denim on the dashboard. Doesn't quite do it for me, but it will appeal to some people. And that Lexus quality is here. Everything you touch feels really well screwed together. Just unfortunately, some things are feeling quite old-fashioned, like this steering wheel. It's not particularly nice, but that's not offensive. What is offensive? The infotainment system. It's really not great. It's not a touchscreen at all, not even when you're stationary. It can only be controlled with this funny little touchpad here, which does tend to dart about all over the place. Satellite navigation is also only standard on the top spec car, which is really bad for a car that starts at over £40,000. It does come with Apple CarPlay and Android Auto as standard, which is my preference, but it is always nice to have a satellite navigation. Standard things are like front and rear parking sensors, a rear view camera, you get keyless entry and start, cruise control, automatic lights and wipers. There are some nice bits, but then it is missing others as well. Speaking of no touchscreen, this car is like the automotive version of a fidget spinner. Everywhere you look, there's something to press or touch. You've got buttons on your steering wheel, you've got buttons down the right hand side, you've got little scrolly bits on your dials here, you've also got little scrolly things up here to control your drive modes and also your traction control. How strange is that? You've got piano key buttons for your climate control, you've got little buttons down here for your heated seats and heated steering wheel, you've got the touchpad that controls the central touchscreen, and you've even got down here little buttons and scrolly things to control your radio. Okay, I understand that people don't like touchscreens sometimes, but this is going the other way. Something I really like about the Lexus is the soundtrack, the driving soundtrack. Now, a lot of electric cars either don't have much of a soundtrack, or some even try to replicate that of a combustion car. Now for me, I like my electric cars to sound electric, and that's exactly what the Lexus does. It has that kind of futuristic whir as you pull off. Of course, I would love to be able to capture that and show you, but it's always super difficult. But just trust me, it's actually quite nice. As with a lot of electric cars, the Lexus has regenerative braking, which can be accessed by tipping down once more on your gear stick, and then it can be controlled and turned up and down using your paddles on the steering wheel, where your manual paddles would be on an automatic gearbox. I really like this, and I like the ability to turn it up and down, and again, with all of the controls, it is quite nice to be interactive. The only problem is the regenerative braking won't actually bring you to a complete stop. So if you're used to a one pedal drive, then it might feel a bit alien, but it is nice to be able to adjust it. Build quality is once again apparent when you're on the road. Everything feels really solid, there's no rattles or creaks from anywhere in the cabin, and it's really well insulated as well. I know we'd expect nothing to be rattling and creaking in a car that's over £40,000, but we know from other manufacturers that actually that is quite normal for cars to creak, and it's a real shame. So it's nice to see that the Lexus feels really solid. And paired together with the steering, which is well well weighted, it just feels like a solid car. Power comes from a 201 brake horsepower motor, drawing energy from a 54 kilowatt hour battery, or 50 of which is actually usable, and it puts power down through the front wheels. In all situations, the Lexus has good power to weight ratio. It's sharp and nippy, that instant power and torque. It feels like you can be confident in every situation. The Lexus UX300e range now starts from £42,645 for the base model. Standard equipment is generous, with a number of active safety features are joined by front and rear parking sensors, a rear view camera, 8-way adjustable front seats, LED headlights and standard roof rails. The Premium Plus pack adds leather seats, heated and ventilated front seats, heated rear seats, keyless entry and a wireless phone charger, amongst other features. We think that it's worth picking the Premium pack if you want a more luxurious experience. However, you have to bear in mind that it will set you back £3,500 for it. Crazily, if you want sat-nav, you'll have to go for the top spec Takumi model, which, deep breath, will cost you £52,245, and it does also come with a Mark Leveson sound system, head-up display, a 360-degree camera and a keyless boot. But still, madness.
What madness is this?
Just like a Lamborghini, the Lexus UX300e won't make sense to everybody. But it's one of those cars, like the Lamborghini, that's an emotional purchase. Probably everyone that's gone for one of these cars has had a string of positive experiences in Lexus dealerships, and there's a lot of that about. These cars are seriously reliable, and their customer service is fantastic as well. I can see why somebody would want to stick with the brand, despite the fact that this car has quite a few flaws. But at the end of the day, if you're not going far and you have a home charger, there's not really that much to dislike about this car. But let us know, what do you think about it in the comments below? If you've enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a thumbs up. And if you want to see more videos like this, electric car news and electric mobility, then make sure you're subscribed to the Electroheads channel. Until next time guys, see you later.